All right, we are back with episode 2 of the Spotlight series with Coach Matt Aldred at the University of Furman, or is it Furman University? I should have already.
Uni, baby.
All right, in South Carolina. There, he is a native of Eastbourne, England, or Eastbourne. He's been at Furman for 4 years, working with men's basketball and men's golf. Prior to Furman, he spent some time at the University of Florida working with men's and women's basketball, also men's tennis. And then Matt has degrees from University of West Florida and the University of Alabama, Huntsville, where he was a GA strength coach and also an adjunct kinesiology professor. CSCS certified, phenomenal human being, former soccer player, and got a chance to work alongside Matt a couple of years ago, University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, where we got to meet each other and work together. And really, Matt's got a great story. The past couple of years have been a struggle, but he's got a great story, and we're going to spend some time, Matt, just really talking about you and highlighting you and spotlighting you. So if you don't mind, let's go on with just kind of your journey, where you started and how you got to where you're at.
Yeah. First off, Chad, appreciate you having me on. So I came out after my English college career was done. So I did a bachelor's in England, came out and played soccer at West Florida for 2 years, which was a great experience. Absolutely loved it. And that really exposed me to the American college S&C system. I had a GA, I think he was a baseball player, GA, and like just the energy of the weight room, the music. Like I thought this guy had the best job in the world. Like whenever I saw him, he was eating or he was working out, it was like, and the weight room was sick. So I was like, okay, this is cool. So I kind of logged that in my memory. I went on to play pro for a year after that time at West Florida. Went home for a couple of years, was a personal trainer, played for my local semi-professional soccer team. And then, just kind of got the itch to want to come back stateside. And I knew kind of the route it would be, as anyone starts in this industry, it's normally intern or grad assistant. You don't go straight into an assistant spot without experience. So for me, when I came out, I played for Chattanooga FC for that summer period. And I was able to get an internship with UTC. That was the year before you got there. So I was working with Coach Brinks, Coach Dixon, and Coach Crane. So I was able to do that in the mornings and then play for this team in the afternoons, which was great, before my GA. And then when I was at a grad assistant role, I was able to keep doing that for the next 2 summers. It was a Division II school. I was GA in that. And that's where I kind of got the Division I experience. And that led me to the Florida job. But it's funny how it all works out, because when I came out to America to play soccer for that 3-month period, I'd come out with the intention of getting a job as an S&C coach. And it was only one of the last weekends I was out there that my former grad assistant soccer coach, who was now a head coach at Northern Southeastern, came to visit. He said, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you up to?" I said, "Hey, I want to be a strength coach." He said, "Well, perfect. I'm a head coach at Alabama Huntsville. We've just got a full-time strength coach. Do you want to come be my GA?" And I was like, yes, like, let's do this. And obviously I knew it meant going back to school. So I went home, got my visa, my F1 visa sorted, went back out, and actually chose to do a degree that had no prereqs, because I wanted to be done in 2 years. It was human resource management, which has proven very helpful to this day with job satisfaction, onboarding, leadership. There was some accounting, there was some economics in there, but really great course. Absolutely loved it. And so that's how I was at a random Alabama Huntsville, was working for him. And then doing the internship with UTC for those first few years out here, which was brilliant experience,
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool that you were able to do that during the summers, go play some soccer. And then it was really kudos to you for reaching out to the staff before I got to Chattanooga, getting involved, getting to participate. And then same thing when I got there, the new guy reaching out, really did amazing stuff in the few months that we were hanging out. And, so kudos to you just for reaching out and doing that for your career. Made some really good connections in those couple of years from a lot of coaches that were there in that 2-year time span. So some of those have paid off for you, and it's been cool to see your career kind of get to where it is. So just briefly with at Furman, you got men's basketball and golf. How have those teams been going, kind of working in that sport? Seems like basketball has kind of been the one the last few years from Florida and to here. Just really briefly on kind of just the philosophy of how you train basketball players in today's athletic world.
Yes, good question. I took a lot from my experience at Florida and working with Colin, who's obviously now at Mississippi State. I believe in exercise progression being absolutely key. Some of these guys come in tendonitis issues. Obviously, they're very long athletes, so really going through their correct exercise progressions before we get to the fancy stuff. For philosophy wise in season, as we are right now, it's it's keeping the number one thing, which is keeping them healthy to play. So, if we lift once this week, that's okay, because the schedule is the schedule. But, really trying to get them active recovery, the education piece, the relationship piece, I think is so big, because I've got to trust that they do everything right for tonight, last night, for prepping for Sunday's game after tonight's game. But I think the real difference for me is just really being able to hone in on high minute guys, low minute guys. So getting my low minute guys in for a development lift today, definitely getting them a lift tomorrow, potentially Sunday, because they need to keep that plyometric exposure, in my opinion. And they need to keep that exposure to the game day demands with the running, the cutting, the sprinting. So, I do a lot more jumping with my low minute guys in season. My high minute guys don't jump at all. We have data that shows they jump multiple times. I'm talking like near 100 times at least in games, high intensity jumps. But my low minute guys don't. So for their tendon health and to keep them feeling good and twitchy and keep them feeling right for the games, we do a lot more jumping in here, and then more hypertrophy rep ranges. They keep developing. They can be more sore. Obviously, my high minute guys, more intensification phase with high weight, low reps. And they want to feel better leaving than when they came in. And I do believe that when you give them that micro dose, they're going to feel, wow, shit, I was able to do pretty good on that trap bar deadlift. So it gives them the confidence as well. And, I don't want to turn them into marathon runners, talking to marathons later, but, all they're doing is cardio right now, cardio. Well, then the muscle needs some stimulus. It has to, if I'm going to try and keep weight on them. So that's why I firmly believe in lifting in season, and basketball and football are very good with that. It's kind of part of the culture. But other sports, I think, could learn from that. Even soccer's, they've got to keep lifting. They've got to keep strong. Even if it's a micro dose once every 10 days, they have to keep that robustness. So it's definitely the different phases of the year, different prioritizations, different kind of schemes, as being a strength coach. But in season is keep them healthy, keep them feeling good. And then the low minute guys, they got to keep developing big time.
Very nice. You mentioned, Coach Colin Crane was with us at UTC. Now he's the head guy at Mississippi State. He's obviously an influence on you. What about anybody else in the profession, whether that be for basketball or just strength and conditioning in general, sport performance? Is there anybody else that, comes to mind as being an influence, whether that's actual coaching X's and O's or leadership, communication, relationship building? Anybody that you got in mind there?
Yeah, I'd say, Preston Green at Florida. Obviously, his approach was so different to what I was exposed to as a D2 GA, because you can try and develop yourself, but you never really can be fully developed until you've trained under studs, and that's why the Chattanooga experience was great for me. 3 summers training under probably 8 different coaches. I picked up a lot from you, picked up a lot from Ron, picked up a lot from Tyler in my 1 year there, Colin, obviously my 2 years, but Preston was big on the nutrition piece and big on that individualization of training, individual lifting cards. So he was huge for me. And then I guess bigger picture wise, it's kind of weird saying this because I've connected with him a few times, but obviously the program they run at Gonzaga is phenomenal. So Travis Knight for me is someone that is definitely high on that list because of his relationship piece with them. If the players are having any issues, oftentimes from what I've heard and gathered, they will be, hey, Travis, just go check this out. And I love that. I think that's so cool for 18 to 22-year-old young men to be able to have someone they can trust, pour into, and that someone that's at the front line. I mean, they're on the bench. We travel with them. We have such a close relationship with them. I see myself as a bigger brother to these guys, because we don't determine playing time, but we can have some valuable information and relationships there. So he's someone I definitely look up to. And obviously because of the caliber of their program, it's hard not to look up to him as well as a strength coach, X's and O's. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's good. That's spot on.
Yeah,
nice, man. Okay, let's get to the big thing here. The biggest thing I want. Again, you're an awesome human being. You're an incredible coach. Going to do incredible things. But I really want to share this story of your past couple of years. And I remember, I must have been slow to some of the news. I remember there was a day where you might have been in the hospital or something, and I sent you a message. What the hell happened? And you told me, and then since kind of then, I was just kind of suckered in on where this is going. A little bit of hints and stuff. Your jaunts through the woods, and so if you don't mind, let's hear all that stuff, man.
Yeah, so it was funny, I talk about West Florida being formative for me with a strength coach. It was that experience that told me I had a heart condition because I had a US medical. And I remember the guy coming in, listen to it. Hey, just get a second opinion. Hey, we think you've got this. Let's get a quick test. I missed preseason, which isn't that bad, right? For an athlete, it's kind of nice like that. But, and then I found out I had a heart murmur. And so when I went home for Christmas, I went to the local doctor, cardiologist with my mom. And she's like in bits, like she's crying out, like it's a tough moment for her. And I'm pretty relaxed. I feel great. I'm like, well, I've played 3 years at Loughborough. I played 3 years college already. I played hundreds of games, thousands of games as a kid. I'm good. But he said, hey, you'll probably need surgery at some point midlife. So obviously midlife for me is 50, just dead on, right? Let's aim for the 100. And so when I came out and they, when I went back out, I'd get checked every year. And it was when I was at Furman that they checked me one time. It was in January after we played VMI. I'll always remember it. The day after, cardiologist called me. I was like, he doesn't normally call me. I call him back. He didn't pick up, calls me again. Hey, like the heart's kind of getting a bit too big now. Like the backflow of blood's getting a bit too much. So we're going to look to progress with surgery probably this summer. And I'm like trying to keep it together. And I'm like, okay, like just tell me one thing, doc, like, will it affect my life expectancy? Like, that's the one thing. He was like, no, if we act on it now, it shouldn't. And I was like, okay. So I hung up the phone and I'm like, I'm crying, like snotty. I'm like in bits, obviously, because it's like, holy, like, this is crazy. And I remember actually texting my head coach, who's done a lot for me here. And I said, hey, I need to speak to you right now. Like I'm here on campus. And I was just in bits. And he said, hey, man, like, God's got you. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, they do this all the time. You're fine. Like, this will be all right, Hard part was telling my family over the phone. That was obviously because I couldn't see him in person. So WhatsApp call was really tough. I went down and met with the surgeon in March, and I had my girlfriend at the time, now fiance. And yeah, he told me, he was super calming. Like I was so nervous before. I hadn't thought about it, even in the back of your mind when I went there, I was super nervous. And he was so calming, so genuine, gave me the options. I was like, okay, great. And then when I left, I was almost like buzzing. It was really weird. I called my family. I was like, hey, it's going to be fine. Like, he's going to do this. It's all good. Like, I trust him. This place is awesome. And yeah, I decided to do it in September because the summer was big time for us. And then COVID hit, right? And then that meant my family couldn't come out. So again, that was a hard conversation. My mum to this day still bears like some responsibility there. And I've had to tell her even when I went home recently, Mum, you've got to let it go. Like, you have to let this thing go. I know it's tough, but it's done. It's over a year since it's happened. So I had the surgery. And like I say, Maria was there with me every step of the way. She was my guardian angel. She was absolutely incredible. And in the immediate recovery afterwards, and we've recently been engaged. We're going to get married in May. So there's beautiful things to come out of it. We went through a lot of tough together early on. And yeah, just the recovery was interesting, mate. It was, I've never ever had anything big surgery, so I didn't know what it looked like recovery. And there's moments in the hospital where it was really weird, like trippy on the drugs they give you, and the pain of coughing, even sneezing. To this day, I have to hold pressure here because I feel like it's a little pressure. It's nothing crazy, but it's a reminder. And honestly, I kind of like it because it's a reminder of, like, it gives me perspective. Like, I'm able to go for a run. I'm able to lift. I'm able to do whatever. I'm able to stretch the guy. Like, I'm good. I'm able to laugh and hug without pain. I'm able to shower without pain. Or I'm able to sleep whatever side I want. I'm able to dress myself. I'm able to drive a car. Like, all these things that we take for granted. And I'd said to my brother, because obviously he's an ultra runner. He loves endurance. I said, hey, like, I want to do an Ironman within a year. And then quickly I realized, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Like, I'm not a good swimmer, so it's going to be tough to get the swimming miles in. That's kind of my cop out as well. So I was like, all right, let's run a marathon. And so I was able to go home. His wedding was October 9th. My surgery was October 13th, the year before. So we were able to go for a marathon run together. And it was really special because every training run I'd had, any run I'd had in that immediate recovery period, I'd always thought, sounds a bit cheesy, I'd always thought about that moment where I'd be running with him in our hometown. Because obviously I was in America, COVID, I was like, man. And I get emotional thinking about it. And so when we come down our street and we've done the marathon and my mum's there, like holding my heart pillow, which I sent her, like, I just burst into tears. And my brother's wife was there. And it was just so special, man. So special. And it just made it worth it, like to set that goal. And I did it for a few reasons. I wanted to raise some money for the hospital ward I was in, because as I'm walking around in my recovery, there's babies in there. It's a pediatric ward. I was the oldest guy there, and there's babies, and you think about the families, you think about these kids, like, it's so hard. And And a lot of the families there are below the poverty line, you know, so it's how can I help? And I was like, hey, my network's good enough. Like, let's raise some money. Why not? You know, I don't want to just run a marathon for me. I want to do it to raise awareness for this, you know, this charity and their clinic, their ward. And it was special. It was really, really special to set that goal. And I wanted to kind of show people, hey, like, I'm 32. Yeah, we can do this. You know, set yourself a goal after a big surgery, because that's the only way you're going to get off your butt and get moving again. Because it's easy to just sit there and wallow in like self-pity, but you got to get moving. You got to get out there, set yourself a goal, go do it. And then we actually ended up running 2 when I was home, which was kind of cool. I felt if I'm fit enough to run 1, there's this literally Beachy Head Marathon in Eastbourne, which is a famous one in England, being one of the hardest and most beautiful. And I was like, my sister was doing it on the Saturday, and I texted her on the Wednesday, I said, hey, you still doing it? Because she had like a dodgy knee. I was like, hey, she was like, yeah, you want to do it with me? I've got two spare. I was like, yes. So I did 2. And then, but here's the thing, Chad, I was like, I had another week at home. I was like, do I do 3? I'm like, you know what I mean? Because once you've done it, you're like, well, I might as well, like, 2's okay, but I might as well do 3. And I didn't. I was like, I can't bear another 4 or 5 hours on the run. But it was cool, you know, really cool to reflect back on it. And so we did it with my brother, and I did it with my brother and my sister, and it was so special.
That's incredible. I mean, the whole thing, again, like, it's amazing to get through it. Amazing feat on finishing multiple marathons. And then what you did, raising money and awareness, is really impressive. And on behalf of any and all of those families, you know, thank you. How far out, at what point, you know, you kind of mentioned the Ironman, but at what point was it like, I'm doing a marathon and I'm doing this marathon at this time, you know, and then what kind of?
Yeah, I think it was probably
progress.
6 weeks before, because I'd been running a decent amount. I was like, right, I'm going to do some endurance event. The Ironman to me after about 6 months was kind of dead in the water, because the pools weren't open. And obviously, you know, the hours we have as college training English coach, like, it was tough. Like, we're getting, basketball's busy season, right? So it's like, that's going to be tough, but I can run. I've always been good at running. I can run. So about 6 weeks out, I said to him, hey, let's do a marathon. And then I tried to up my mileage. I tried to do like a half marathon each weekend. But knowing the terrain was very different, I was like, all right, but the beautiful thing about it was I wasn't trying to get a sub 3, you know, and I think as I get older, I kind of give myself more grace. I'm like, if I want to go for a run and I want to hit 7 miles, I don't care about the pace. Right. And it might be funny as a strength coach, like, I'm not trying to go, because I think sometimes that can be unhealthy for me. You know, it's like, if I keep striving there, what if I don't get it? Like, am I going to be miserable all day? Like, am I going to push I just want to be healthy. I want my knees not to hurt when I bend. I said to one of my guys the other day, I was like, I just want to be a hybrid. I want to be after run. If you say, let's go for a run, cool. If you say, let's lift, cool, whatever lift you want. If you say, hey, let's do some running on the court, let's do some strongman stuff. Yeah, you're going to do some hill sprints. Yeah. You want to get in the pool. Yeah. Like, the older I get, the more I value that. And oftentimes in my career early on, I'd be like, well, I've got to look a certain way as a strength coach. I've got to be, you know, I've got to be this. It's like, nah, like, just be you. Just be authentic, because the players will see straight through it if you're trying to be someone you're not. And also, like, why would I try and be yoked when I actually really enjoy running? Like, I love state parks. Like, I love going for a run. So, like, that's me as a soccer player. That's my background. Why not just go and embrace that? Yeah. You know, if you care about where athletes think, they just want to see you do something. Sure. You know, to not do something is criminal. But, like, just stay in shape and eat a good diet, and you'll be respected by your peers, you know?
Like you said, just be capable.
Yes. Just be able to lift up flip a tire. Yeah, like, you know, do a yoke carry. Like, yeah, like, absolutely. It's fun, that. You know? That's
so cool. Do you, so is the Ironman, a future Ironman, off the table?
I think now we've actually verbalized it right here, Chad. I think I'm going to have to say I do want to do one. Yeah. I just think that's the ultimate test. Like, that'd be incredible. And to do it with him would be phenomenal. He's already done one. He might have done 2. I think he's done 1. But yeah, I think, you know, while I'm relatively young and fit, I want to be able to do one. Sure. I want to look back and be like, man, I've done a few marathons, done half marathons, done an Ironman. Hey, maybe I'll do like an ultra event one time. Like, because I want to just keep training for things. Our body loves it when we just stay and do nothing. Like, our body loves just, like, we got to keep challenging it. So, like, if I can suddenly go, right, let me just up my mileage. Let's get on the bike. Like, I think it'd be really cool. And again, the goal setting aspect for me is important, because I can lift all day if I want, like, on whatever plan I want. Like, I want to have a goal. Like, if I'm athletes having a goal, like, it helps me to have a goal, short term, medium, long term, of like something to work towards. Because I can easily then just be like, I'll just do a quick 20-minute lift. and then over days you're not improving, and that's no fun.
Yeah, I feel you there. Now, what about is the endurance stuff obviously is going to be something that stays for a long time in your life? We got that goal. I'll support you whenever you decide to do it. I'm going to find a way to support you, be there, watch it, whatever. So we got kind of those personal goals. Any other personal goals, whether that's a physical thing, that's just a career, any career, personal, what are some of the next goals that you're looking at here down the road?
I think career goals, I want to be the best in this industry. And that's quite cliche, I guess, because a lot of people say that, but I reflect on me being an international strength coach, or an international coach, not strength, that sounds big. I want to reach the top of this sport and do it my way and learn from the best and just try and be whatever level I get to. Just bloom where I'm planted, be the best I can be. But I am interested with other sports because I think there's I've learned so much being a soccer player, working in basketball. Well, why couldn't I respect guys that work in the NHL, the NFL, the MLS, the Premier League, work in Europe. To me, that's so much about life and life experiences. And I think the travel aspect in different cultures, I think that's really appealing to me. And I think that helps because my culture and my history and heritage is so different. And then personal goals, I'm getting married in May. I want to really do my best job I can to keep my job, and have my marriage and my family always be number one. And I've seen how that can be done really well. And I've seen ways where I think that could probably be improved. But when I've got to have a good home, I can't be pouring into my athletes all the time and see them as me being a bigger brother, yet have a bad relationship with my brother. Family's family. And so I just really, really want, as I get older in this career, whatever it takes me, I want to value and focus on that more than anything else. And other things, and that's why I really do respect, and you'll probably be able to speak to this, but, people are more going to the tactical side because of the availability you have with seeing family and being with your kids. And I had a friend text me the other day saying he's thinking about changing careers in season. And he told me the reasons why. I said, man, I'm so proud of you. You don't listen to anyone. That is big time for the reasons you're doing that for. Because it's so easy to look at other people's grind and go, man, he's getting out. He ain't made of the right stuff. It's okay, but there's high insecurity if you're the one saying that, because you obviously hog your desk 15 hours a day and think that's living a good life, when seriously the university could just say see you for no reason. You got to be with your family, man. And it's at the end of the day, what we do, I have the best office in the world. My job is my hobby, but it's a job. My family is family, and my wife is going to be my wife, hopefully till our dying day. So that's the number one priority. Yeah. And I hope I keep that as wherever the career takes me. And
we probably discussed it back when we were working together too. That title, that logo can and probably will be taken from you at some point. Mm-hmm. But that husband title, that father title, that brother, that son, that will never be taken from you. Okay. And so, in my case, it was a little bit more of instead of preaching about being a good husband, a good father, I'm going to go be it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same. I think you're spot on, and you're young enough. Actually, you're young enough and wise enough, right? You're wise enough to know that you can still chase a career, but not at the expense of everything else, because it's who are we celebrating it with? And so I wish you the absolute best in both of those, especially the marriage. I have no doubt your career will be fantastic. Continue on, be dominant at Furman forever, or whatever happens. But like I said, that logo can change, but your job of having a positive influence on men and women, young men and women, college athletes is going to be the same no matter where you're working. Yep. So Matt, I really, really appreciate talking to you again. It's always a joy. I always tell people still, you're in my top 3 people I always text on the 4th of July.
Yes, I always get that. Yeah, it's some American flag gif.
Yep.
You with a gun and a flag.
You're right, man. So,
yeah, that's true. That is so true. It always gives me a smile. So I'm like, Chad. Oh yes, 4th of July.
Yeah. Big one for us.
Yeah.
Big one for us.
And I normally send back something very British, like James Bond or something.
Yeah. Oh, good. Like I said, again, thank you very much. That story is so amazing. I hope that we can spread this a little bit more from this avenue. And so appreciate you very much, Matt.
Yeah, Chad, appreciate you, man. Keep doing great things.
All right, I'll catch you on the backside here.
Bye, buddy.